You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
From an undisclosed location. This is Safety Wars for Thursday, August 7, 2025. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you had a safe day. Yeah, we do this at night, get things going, into a nice, relaxing evening. But then again, it is Safety Wars. Anything could happen. Weren't we well ahead of the curve on this one? So back in April, we had a show on the U.S. Census. And my whole thing was, why are we collecting all this data? Why don't we just record necessary data here? Why are we, the Census Bureau started out as something to take the population, measure the population, then apportion our House of Representatives seats among the various states, and then every 10 years. But what happened was, like a lot of government programs, it expanded again and again and again. Now it's up to something like 160, give or take, surveys. And now we'll have the whole thing over the last week with the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the person getting canned because of, now they had a downward revision, 158,000 or something like that, jobs from their jobs estimate. And then, we dig a little deeper, and I said, look, I can see 1,000, 10,000 even. Either way, that's normal, right? They adjust things. But then 158,000, and I mean, that's an important statistic. All these financial statistics are because they're engaged in the economy and people make investments, and the government, of course, it's budget time. And that's when a lot of this stuff has a tendency of happening. Don't believe me? See when all of the controversies happen with the roles of government agencies. And NASA was famous with the doom and gloom all through the 80s and 90s. Now, we have climate problems. And guess what? We need more money. And, it's budget time, so they're negotiating for this and hoping someone's going to go and pick it up. Now we have a situation where, statistics are way off. We're not getting enough data back. Our participation rate went from like 80% down to like 50% on all these studies over the last couple of years. That's what we found with the VLS studies, real labor statistics. A couple of months ago, I said, why are we doing all this? Why are we doing data mining? Why are we all okay with this? Because, we're all ATM machines all of a sudden. That's why they put collateral based on the population, based on the population growth, which now we're in a negative growth. If we're not there, we're pretty damn close to it. Some countries are in negative growth patterns, right? And we were one of the first shows discussing demography. Now it's all coming full circle. Now you know why we do all this. So my question is this, and because these things have grown over the years, government agencies, scope of government, and everything else, my question is, and this is bipartisan here, right, on this, we need to examine why we are taking these statistics, why are we doing these statistics, what are they being used for, and are they necessary? Real simple. Because we have one side of the government saying, well, we have to control everything. Everything is going to be centrally controlled, more or less. You have the other side of the government who's saying, well, we're interested in smaller government. We know that that's not true. Time and time and time again, just find the amount of money that they spend. And then you have people who way out there on the right, like me, stating, let's question whether, I got to plug in this computer. Let's question whether or not we should even be collecting these statistics to begin with. Let's start from there. You want a smaller government, you cannot get there by having a larger government. So some would argue, well, we need the statistics and everything else so we can gauge everything that's going on, and therefore we need to we have an accurate measure of what's going on. Okay, fair, but okay, what statistics are we going to have? Who's going to collect the statistics? And number 3, are we going to rely on models versus actual statistics and everything else? Now, with the VLS data, they've been collecting that for 50 years or more. I mean, a long, long time they're collecting the VLS data. They don't have it down yet? Really? They don't have it down yet? They don't? Okay, I understand there are better statistical methods, updated statistical methods. I actually spoke to someone this week that doesn't want to go on the air, but she gave me the whole thing. In her opinion, they're not updating this stuff. So my question is this: what conversations should we be having with this? Why this stuff is not being updated? What are the challenges? List it out. And the question is, should we even be collecting them? Especially if we know that they're not accurate. That's the question. So, and the fact is, if they should be collected, How do we improve the collection process so we don't have these 158,000 things, 158,000 job revision? Now, statistics. The people who are collecting them, in charge of collecting them, how many are there? There's not a big pool of people out there that are due. I don't know, maybe 20,000 in this country. Most of them are in academia or working for companies, financial houses, things of that nature. I don't know. I don't know what that number is. I haven't been able to find a number that I'm comfortable with from a source that I'm comfortable with. So now you start getting rid of these folks. Who's going to take over? Who's going to be in charge? Because most of us, and I include myself in there, are like playing single A baseball when these people are like Hall of Fame baseball team. No, in the Baseball Hall of Fame here. No, really good people in numbers. So I don't know. Are the people in Congress doing the oversight? Do they know what questions to ask? We remember what happened with the whole COVID-19 thing, right? We remember what happened there. You had a couple of doctors that are in Congress asking all the questions. And they're not epidemiologists, but they're doctors. They went to medical school and they know something about public health. Just like a lot of our safety professionals out there, they know this. Most safety professionals know a little bit about public health. Some safety professionals know a lot about public health. So it's in the body of knowledge on these exams that we take. So you got to know a little something. So that's what I got. That's my opening. So in summary, what data should we be collecting? Should we be collecting the data? How do we make it accurate? Should we? No, doing the first. I think that's a valid question. And with that, and again, we haven't been taking a lot of commercial breaks. With that, we're going to go to our first commercial break and maybe play a little bit of AI music. I got some requests for that.
In an unpredictable world, one voice rises above the chaos. Meet Jim Polzel, a seasoned safety expert who's navigated through some of the most dangerous scenarios, from anthrax, explosive cleanups, disasters, and numerous environmental cleanups, and lived to tell the tale. Now he's bringing his wealth of knowledge, insights, and experiences to you through Safety Wars. From workplace hazards to the hidden dangers in your own home, Jim covers it all with his engaging storytelling. Safety Wars isn't just a podcast, it's your guide to a safer world. Join Jim Polzel and become part of the Safety Wars revolution. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts and videos. Safety Wars. Your safety is our mission.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that is designed to actually address and assess your hazards and liabilities and is not standardized baloney from generations ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call me, Jim Polzel, at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you are receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Are your windows hard to open and close? Are they leaking?
Safety Wars, a relentless pursuit into the high-stakes world of workplace safety and regulation. Jim Purcell, a seasoned veteran on a mission to protect the vulnerable, the diligent, the everyday worker, in an environment where risks run high and lives hang in the balance. Welcome to the Safety Wars show on Safety FM. Follow us on social media as Safety Wars. Listen to us on your favorite podcast network as Safety Wars or visit us at safetywars.com.
OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Polzel with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy!
All right, so here we are. We haven't talked about the war yet in a while here. Russian drones test NATO's Article 5 defense guarantee ahead of Friday's sanctions deadline. Defense officials warn of reckless pattern as President Trump gives Russia until Friday for UN-Ukraine peace talks. This is all from Fox News. Days ahead of the U.S. preparing harsh new sanctions tied to the war in Ukraine, Russian Vladimir Putin, whether intentionally or just carelessly, has tested the political will of NATO's collective defense guarantee, Article 5. In recent days, drones launched from the Russian-allied state of Belarus, also used to be called Belorussia, have pierced Lithuanian airspace, drawing alarms from the region's political and military leaders. One drone traversed approximately 100 kilometers, loitered ominously over Vilnius, carrying 2 kilograms of explosives, and ultimately crashed inside a military training zone. Earlier in July, another drone forced the evacuation of high-level officials when it crashed near the Sumskas border crossing. Simultaneously, Russian forces struck a Ukrainian gas depot located mere yards from Romania's border, half a mile away, a strike that triggered warnings and prompted Romanian F-16s to patrol the vicinity. Right, and observers have called this a pattern. Well, hopefully, let me get the camera back on here. Hopefully, this is not really going to go anywhere here, right? With this. Okay, hold on. With this, I mean, we do need peace. Let's face it. We have to have peace here. Cannot have these endless wars going on and on and on with this. And let's remember, we're disarming mostly for the last 30 years. Yeah, new things have come on. We fought here, fought there. But no, with a war this scale, like in Ukraine, a lot of our weapons stockpiles are not there because we don't have the manufacturing capacity anymore here. Things were very short-sighted. Here's one from the Epoch Times, Zachary Stieber, a senior reporter. The government has agreed to a settlement that involves expunging records showing that COVID-19 vaccination status of employees, lawyers representing workers who sued, said on August 7th. Officials must expunge the records under the settlement and bar discrimination based on vaccine status. Feds for Freedom, the workers group, and its lawyers said in a statement, the government must also bar discrimination based on vaccine status and reimburse a portion of the group's legal fees. An email to the Department of Justice attorney who filed a voluntary dismissal in the case on Thursday returned a message saying he is on leave until August 11th. That is Monday. The department's media office did not respond to a request for comment by publication time. The formal settlement has not been entered into the court document, but lawyers for Feds for Freedom said it includes reimbursement of some of the legal fees incurred in the case the organization brought against the government over the COVID-19 mandate. We were talking about this with one of the organizations I was with, one of my colleagues yesterday, how it was an experimental vaccination, all three of them, right, with that. And I have sources inside I have sources, we'll just leave it at that, that said that this should have never and would have never been approved under normal circumstances. But they had to make everybody feel good, I guess, with that. First, and to keep everybody calm, Trump signs order barring federal funding to schools with COVID vaccine mandates. Trump campaigned on not giving one penny to any school that has a COVID-19 vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. President Donald Trump on February 14 signed an executive order barring funding to universities and schools with COVID-19 vaccine mandates. The order detailed in a fact sheet provided by the White House, will prohibit all federal funding to any schools that implement COVID-19 vaccine mandates and directs the Secretaries of Education and Health and Human Services to issue compliance guidelines and mandates to end existing mandates. The secretaries will also create a report of non-compliant institutions and a process for blocking funds from supporting any of those imposing mandates. So this is right. When was this issued? This story came up today in the stack of stuff. So we'll see what happens here. CDC director endorses new RSV antibody as JFK Jr. approves influenza vaccine recommendation. The new director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has followed the advice of advisors to the agency and endorsed a new antibody for respiratory syncytial virus, RSV. I had this virus. It's not fun. Took me about 3 months to get over. CDC Director Susan Monores recently confirmed by the Senate endorsed on August 4th the antibody called clesrovimab for infants born during and entering their first respiratory virus season, the CDC said on its website. The advice is now the official recommendation of the CDC, meaning clesrovimab can be administered to infants this fall. The newly reformed Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, which provides advice to the CDC, in June said the CDC should recommend the Merck-made antibody for infants whose mothers had not received an RSV vaccination when they are pregnant. Right? Now, there was a story in Study Finds. We usually save the Study Find stuff if I come up short, I'll be honest with you. But this is related to everything that we had talked about. Researchers discovered that common indoor conditions like mild temperatures and stop-and-go walking can trap airborne particles where most people are vulnerable. In a nutshell, and who's wrote this story? Studyfinds.org. Story by Study Finds Analysis, reviewed by Stephen Fink. Research led by Rixi Liu, Milo Van Moy, and came out yesterday. Hold on. I gotta go to commercial break. I have to take care of something here. No, this is live radio, so hold on, everybody.
Safety Wars is streaming now.
SafetyFM.com.
We're gonna put on some music here.
Masks on faces, no room for complacency. Air ain't free, got rules explicitly. 29 CFR, the code to live. Breath-free protection, OSHA directive. Regulating lungs, safeguard the breath. Respiratory shields, fending off death. Respect the air, comply with the creed. 29 CFR, for the life we need. Filter tight, no gaps or faults. Night shift grind, a 9 to 5 hustle. Contaminants lurk unseen, unknown. OSHA's guiding us, never alone. Half mask, full face, get the fit test. Seal like gold, protect the nest. Airborne hazards, left in the dust. 29 CFR and standards we trust. Path of life, regulations uphold. No shortcuts, straight guidelines unfold. Disposable or reuse, choices laid out. Breathing safe without.
Yeah, hopefully I'm not getting that RSV virus. Yeah, like I said, it's got the sniffles today. Research. It's good I had that song ready because researchers discovered that common indoor conditions like mild temperatures and stop-and-go walking can trap airborne particles where people are most vulnerable. In a nutshell, waiting in indoor lines, even with 6-foot spacing, can allow infectious aerosols to accumulate at face level due to air currents created by human movement. The study finds that comfortable indoor temperatures, 72 to 86, may actually increase infection risk by allowing breath particles to hover where others inhale them. Simulations and lab experiments show that faster walking speeds and more extreme temperatures, either hot or cold, help move particles away from the breathing zone. Current public health guidelines focus on static distancing may be insufficient for acute environments with dynamic airflows. I mean, this is pretty high-level science here that they got to do this, right? And study this. It turns out that the 6-foot rule wasn't as effective as scientists thought. New research now shows that waiting in line at the grocery store, airport security, or vaccination clinic might actually pose a much higher infection risk than previously understood. Scientists have discovered that the widely adopted 6-foot social distancing rule, and I'm still seeing those signs and labels everywhere. Now, coming a little bit more rare, but they're still out there. Offers surprisingly little protection in waiting lines. Even more striking, comfortable indoor temperatures, the kind most buildings maintain year-round, may actually create the worst conditions for airborne infection spread. Research published in Science Advances reveals that temperatures between 72 and 86 degrees Fahrenheit can heighten infection risk by allowing infectious breath particles to linger at the face level with minimal dilution. Both significantly hotter and colder temperatures actually suppress transmission risks. Depending on the walking speed, an intermediate temperature range can potentially heighten the infection risks by allowing the breath plume to linger. However, colder and warmer ambients both suppress the spread, the researchers wrote in their paper. Now, I don't know. I think we all knew this stuff by common sense, and the 6-foot rule wasn't working because we still had transmission. Right? But let's remember what safety is and what safety isn't. I was just explaining this to government employees yesterday on one of my projects. Safety is, and if you're a human organizational performance person, you know what this is. What's safety? Safety is it 0 accidents, 0 illnesses, 0 injuries, 0 spills, 0, 0, 0? Or is it the presence of controls, safeguards, and resilience? No, adapting to your situation. If you take the second one, which is my opinion, what they should have done, they should have had Fauci out there. Tried to do it on this platform. Nobody was fighting. Well, it would have been easy. It would have been simple. It would have been, we're going to, now safety is the presence of control, so we're going to have controls. 6-foot rule, we're going to have masks, we're going to have hygiene and everything else that goes in there. And as we have more controls, we're going to be hopefully safer. And this is the best information that we have right now. Because I tell you what, it was hellish. I mean, we had the Tom Cruise meltdown over people not wearing masks and being with a social distancing there. No, it didn't work. But on the other hand, you're adding more controls, so you're making it safer. You're doing your best shot. Let's remember the context here. We had 1.3 million to date, roughly, dying of COVID-19 or with COVID-19. And those numbers, getting back to our first part of the program, those numbers are suspect too, because the way they counted. Just something to think about there. Ask those questions. So my question is this: the people who made these decisions, what are their opinions on now that all these studies are coming out? I don't know. Okay, it's about half. I tell you, let's continue here with the study finds. Here you go. Eating French fries 3 times a week raises diabetes risk by 20%, according to one study out of Boston. That was out of Harvard. Okay, what else we got here? Teens no longer answer the phone. Is it a lack of manners or a new trend? Teenagers can seem to have their phones glued to their hands, yet they won't answer them when they ring. This scenario, which is all too familiar to many parents, me included, can seem absurd and frustrating, or even alarming to some. Yet it also speaks volumes the way 13 to 18-year-olds now connect or fail to connect with others. If smartphones are ever present in the daily lives of adolescents, this does not mean that they are using their devices the same way adults do. The reluctance to pick up the phone isn't just a generational trait. It signals a deeper transformation in communication practices, social norms, and digital etiquette. There is much more to this muted approach to communication than the cliche of the unreachable teen. The social, affective, and emotional dynamics play among this age group are worth deciphering. Right, so I tell you what, well, this has also creeped into American business also. So I have a family member who is in an industry, like the safety industry, where we're lied to on a constant basis about a whole bunch of stuff. And it's either a lie by omission, and there's an incentive for that, put out by management or put out by somebody, and then there's just an outright lie. And so what do they do in that industry that the family members in? They know they're going to get lied to and everything else. Everything is in writing. Either you're going to send me over a Teams message, you're going to send me over a text message, or you're going to send me an email. Oh, and by the way, all of the meetings are now recorded now. There are projects out there that I'm on where we have people actually recording the whole meetings and then coming back. They have advertisements for these voice and text apps where, okay, they end the meeting and then it creates within 10 minutes, you now have a minutes of the meeting and highlights. First of all, that's illegal in a lot of states because it's considered wiretapping, dual party consent, and there are some safeguards built in to these online programs. But on the other end, you got to watch what you say on everything now because it's being recorded. I don't care if they say, well, we're not allowed to record everything, blah, 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 blah. It's still getting recorded by someone because we've caught people with their notes are just a little bit too good, if you know what I mean. Also, right, picking up the phone means being available here and now with no safety net and no delay. For many teenagers, this immediacy is perceived as stressful and a loss of control. There is no time to think about what you want to say. You might stammer, say too much or too little, or express yourself poorly or get caught off guard. This whole thing is like if you, again, Star Trek, The Next Generation, they, back in the 80s, right, I believe it was season 1, you had the binars where everything was by computer. They actually replaced pieces of their brain with computer technology and became a cybernetic organism, and they were just communicating at a fast rate. Are we headed there? We are being programmed. We are being manipulated. We do know that. Well, with that, that's no longer a conspiracy theory. What else we got here with that? Nothing there. So we're going to play. There's an interview here. You know what? I would have to Right, this is off of the Ingram angle last night, where the woman seen by being violently slammed to the ground on now viral footage of a brutal beatdown in downtown Cincinnati is speaking out after being forced into hiding after her near-death experience. Footage obtained by Fox Digital shows an unidentified man yelling racial slurs while beaten in the street. Right. Additional video of the scene shows the male victim slapping a member of the group seconds before the fight escalated. And then that's when everyone, like a pack of wolves, just jumped in and started attacking, Holly said. I heard a man crying on the street. He looked at me and held out his hand, Holly said. He said, please, God, help me. Help me, please, God. You can hear it. You can't hear it in any of the videos because you can hear everybody on the street cheering each other on to curb stomp these people and to kick them and punch them and attack them while they were down. Bystander footage shows Holly running between two men as the fight broke out in an attempt to stop the brutal beating. I felt it necessary to at least jump in and try to help save this man's life, Holly said. It looked like they were about to kill him to me, and that's why I couldn't stand there and do nothing. It was just ungodly. I cannot shake the images. It goes on loop over and over. It keeps replaying. It was very traumatic. In the chaos, Holly was slammed to the ground. I remember being afraid, terrified, Holly told Fox Digital. I just remember my life flashing before my eyes, and all I can think is, dear God, I hope my children know that I love them. Video of the incident shows the single mother laying unconscious on the asphalt as blood pours from her mouth when another individual eventually coming over to help her. She quickly retreated to her Uber and went home, and where she slept off her concussion. I mean, no, this was very seriously injured. I mean, common nowadays, getting more and more common to this gang violence, and people are getting a little bit pissed off over it, to say the least. People want to feel safe. People want to feel safe. If you're a politician and you cannot get things under control through the police or other law enforcement, or just set an example for plain decency, which leads to this kind of stuff, you're not doing your job. Sorry. This is out of New York. Donald Trump signed an executive order on Thursday that aims to punish banks for restricting services to customers based on their political or religious beliefs, formalizing debanking protections that conservatives and crypto industry advocates have been pushing for. I've known at least a dozen people who were debanked. Security professionals. One person that I know is a international arms dealer. That's what he does. He's registered with the U.S. government and has all the permits and everything that you need. He's you just don't go out there and sell arms to all different kinds of countries out there, and without being registered. I'm not sure what it is, but he is licensed and he is registered to do this. So what happened? A bank, and it's a bank you've heard of. So, well, we're not doing business with you anymore. Get your money out of here. Really? How many people in the legal realm selling marijuana over the years have been gotten debanked? Usually it's for guns somehow, where gun companies, gun dealers, things of that nature have been debanked, which forces them to put everything into cash, and then they get caught with all this cash. Well, that's illegal too. There's civil asset forfeiture. Now they don't have any cash. There was a guy back during the 2008, I believe, Ron Paul campaign. Steve, I knew the guy, too. Younger guy. He was in college at that time. He went out and he sold books at an event. So rather than go, what I would have done is I would have went to the nearest post office and got a money order and converted all that cash into a money order, if you really want to right? Or put it into a bank somewhere. But he had cash. So what do you think ended up happening? He got caught at the airport with cash and, everything else, and the organization he was involved with was debanked. Various political candidates over the years. You want to go through a fiasco? Imagine if you're a political person, you're forming an organization, you're running for office, try to get a bank account. Not so easy. Believe me, I've done it twice. Right, and so basically, they mention the banks here in the article. This off of CNN Business. You go and you take a look at it. We're going to take a brief break. Well, you know what? I have not talked about with EPA news lately, or OSHA for that matter. So let's do this. Let's do share a screen. And here we go. United States and Mexico, and this is from last month. U.S. and Mexico reached agreement to permanently and urgently end decades-long Tiajuana River sewage crisis. Again, we had Democrats in office, Barack Obama 2009, until Trump came into office the first time, and then we had Joe Biden in office after that. Now we're on Donald Trump again. They couldn't get this together the last how many years? So my question is going to be this. Are the people who are saying that they are for protecting the environment actually for protecting the environment? Real simple. And that goes on both sides of the aisle here, not just one. Are we being manipulated? With that. We're being manipulated on so many levels, we need truth out there. And we need to ask those questions. Today, the U.S. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin met with Secretary of the Environment and Natural Resources of Mexico, Alicia Bárcena Ibarra, at the Council of the Commission of Environmental Cooperation to sign a memorandum of understanding between the U.S. and Mexico to address and resolve a decades-long Tijuana River sewage crisis. For many decades, untreated raw sewage has flowed into Southern California from Mexico, polluting the Tijuana River Valley, closing beaches, fouling the air, harming the region's economy, and sickening people on both sides of the border. The Trump administration is proud to deliver this massive environmental national security win for the Americans in the San Diego area who have been living with this disgusting raw sewage flowing into their communities, said Administrator Zeldin. This agreement achieves the three top administration priorities and milestones critical to ensuring a 100% solution to this issue. Mexico will obligate the remaining $93 million of Minute 328 funds that had not yet been obligated. The timeline for completion of the remaining Minute 328 projects has been reduced. Several necessary Mexico side projects have been added to account for future population growth in Tijuana and operating costs. So, basically, let's go down. Under the signed MOU, right? Memorandum of Understanding. Both nations have agreed to expedite the timelines of critical infrastructure projects in the U.S. International Boundary Water Commission, Minute number 328. This includes completion of all projects by Mexico by no later than December 31st, 2027. In some cases, 4 years ahead, right? So, this is a good thing. Right, with this, getting it done. Lee Zeldin getting it done. Pretty damn good. I've always said that they needed, the Republicans needed to co-opt some of these issues from the Democrats, and it's nice to see that they are finally doing it here. Yeah, I'm going to get a little bit of thing, right? If you want to be effective, it's like it's a very bad thing to say, well, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to put incompetent people in charge because out of political favors, blah, blah, blah. Well, here we have a situation where They're not doing that anymore. They're looking to be effective and basically co-opt all of these environmental issues. That's basically what it comes down to, and getting things resolved and not just always having it there. Just having it out there to now run on an issue, and then we're going to take as long as we can with it and make sure everybody gets paid here, up and down. And we want things, not saying that that's not happening here necessarily, but get these things taken care of so we can move on to bigger and better and brighter things. And I tell you what, based on this, here we have another story here. EPA Administrator Zeldin, this is today, right? This was released, completes Region 1 swing visiting all 6 New England states. On Monday, August 4th, the U.S. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin completed his travel to the EPA's Region 1, where he visited Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine on the heels of his first stops in Massachusetts to meet with regional staff and learn more about the environmental successes and challenges in each state. Right, so, you could be in like Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Massachusetts all at the same time, you could do that out, right? So I'm only jesting here. Right, following Administrator Zeldin's travel to Massachusetts, he visited the Narragansett Bay Tunnel Commission and Restore Waters Program Management in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where he received a project overview and toured the tunnel site, which will eventually hold water for filtration before being released back into the bay. Administrator then visited Newport Naval Base and participated in a boat tour to learn about PFAS and PCB contamination on the base that is currently being remediated. I tell you what, he's got to get a better hard at. Right? After Administrator Zeldin the OSHA has the safety helmets. Why can't the EPA people have that? Good question. After Administrator Zeldin traveled to the Iroquois compressor plant in Milford, Connecticut, the site would be an interconnection point for the Constitution pipeline, which, if permitted, would unleash American energy for New England, driving down prices and enhancing grid stability in the region. At the Raymark Industries Superfund site in Stratford, Connecticut, Administrator Zeldin heard from Stratford Mayor Laura Hoydick and the site team about remediation efforts at the former manufacturing plant for automotive brakes, clutch parts, and other friction components. The site is a success story for the area, with EPA helping to oversee remediation of soil, sediment, surface water, and groundwater that consisted of PCBs, VOCs, asbestos, lead, copper, and about a dozen other chemicals. And then he went on to an oyster shell place where they were storing an oyster, and then headed on up to Vermont to meet with the governor, Phil Scott, and the agricultural secretary, Ann Tebbets, Natural Resources Secretary Julie Moore, and Lieutenant Governor John Rogers at the local farmers at Newport Farms in Bradford, Vermont. He toured the dairy farm and participated in a round table to hear directly from local leaders and farmers on the environmental issues that impact them the most. Now, it goes on and on and on. What's my opinion on Zeldin? I'm going to state the obvious. Can we state the obvious here? Yeah, what's the obvious? Come on, what's the obvious thing I'm going to say? What's his game here? He's being a good ambassador, quote-unquote ambassador, right, for the administration. Is the administrator looking to run for president? You heard it here first, just like you heard the census, just like you heard about the fake COVID cards, just like you heard about demographic issues, just like you heard about a whole bunch of stuff first here. That's my opinion where he's going, and I'm sticking with it. I mean, the guy has to travel, unless he's looking to get some hotel points or something, which I don't know if he's allowed to keep, or I don't know. And let's remember also here, he probably can make it home every night, depending on how he wants to go. Because he lives out on Long Island, that's where his residence is. He can probably fly in and out. Maybe they have him on a helicopter, so he doesn't have to take the ferry over and do this right from home. That could be the other thing, too. He's not out in the Midwest out there traveling somewhere. I don't know with that. Probably be a better example to get a hotel there. Okay. Now, we have Disaster Preparation Month coming up. And next week, if you are for your workplace, for our Safe and Sound week, we have disaster preparation as the theme this year. So I have planned a series of things out that I'll be releasing next week on this. EPA announces availability of $9 million to protect drinking water from natural hazards and cybersecurity threats. Funding will help advance new water sector cybersecurity recommendations. Today, U.S. EPA announced over $9 million in grant funding for mid-sized and large water systems, and this is from August 5th, to help protect drinking water from cybersecurity threats. Here. Drinking water and wastewater plays a foundational role in EPA's Powering the Great American Comeback initiative by providing essential services that protect public health and water resources while supporting American industry and commerce, said Lee Zeldin. With $9 million in grant funding and 10 practical, effective, collaborative recommendations to address cyber attacks, water systems across the country can strengthen their thing. So, here's my question here. Do they list the 10 recommendations? Here we're bringing up the PDF here. 4, 5, 6, 7. That looks like 10. So here we go. Here's the handout. Summary of the recommendation. The task force developed the following recommendations, which the stakeholders adopted. Each recommendation lists actions in priority order. Together, these recommendations create a unified strategy to drive immediate and lasting improvements in the water sector's cybersecurity resilience. Their implementation will require commitment and cooperation from all stakeholders, ensuring progress towards a safer and more secure future for critical water infrastructure. So here we have 1. Enhance collaboration and clear ownership. Enhance water sector collaboration and establish clear ownership of recommendations to support proactive coordination, alignment, and responsibility for advancing these cybersecurity recommendations. Someone's got to be in charge, right? Targeted communication for utility leaders. Develop and launch a targeted communication strategy specifically designed for drinking water and wastewater utility executive leadership to effectively reach utilities and increase uptake of cybersecurity practice. 3. Highlight basic actionable practices. Highlight a limited number of important and attainable basic cybersecurity practices that all utilities should adopt for their protection and to lay the foundations for sustainable cybersecurity program and culture. 4. Embed cybersecurity in utility culture. Create sustained, coordinated, integrated cybersecurity promotion efforts to embed cybersecurity into the culture of water sector. 5. Expand direct technical assistance availability to address the technical barriers to cybersecurity uptake, especially for lower capacity utilities. 6. Secure dedicated financial resources. Secure dedicated directed financial resources to ensure utilities and states are appropriately and adequately resourced to advance cybersecurity practices and address information gaps, address gaps in current cybersecurity information resources, and make it easier for utilities to find and access existing tools and knowledge needed to improve their cybersecurity posture. 8. Engage vendors and constituents. Engage and educate IT and OT constituents, consulting engineers, and industry controls and other vendors on consequences and the needs for utility operations to assist in building resilience which means safety, right? Part of safety. Manual support manual operations and secure by design. One of the projects I was on incorporated some of this, where they went from computer and mechanical back to manual at a sewage treatment plant. So, support the increased capacity of state primacy agencies, authorized agencies, and other existing relevant state entities and water sector partners to leverage their well-developed trusted relationships to support utility education and training and to increase information sharing. And number 10, increase partner resourcing and engagement. Increase cyber resourcing and engagement by existing and new partners at the state and local level. To leverage trusted organizations and relationships to provide technical assistance, deliver consistent messaging, coordinate action, and increase reach to advance adoption of cybersecurity practices in the water sector. So this is basically what it comes down to, where we are looking to secure this stuff. So there was a story today. Let's see if I can get it. Here it is. This is in the Daily Express. I believe it's a UK paper. The-express.com. World News. And this is here. This is all related to this story. China's biggest threat to U.S. is a technical kill switch after malicious claims. A cybersecurity expert, and this is an article by Yolanda Mandenberg. This is from Monday. This is directly related to what we just discussed. A cybersecurity expert has warned that China is the biggest technological threat to the West, with Chinese equipment containing malicious computer codes. A cybersecurity expert has delivered a chilling alert that China represents the greatest technological threat to Western countries, possessing the ability to trigger a kill switch on America's power grid at will. So we're talking about water, and we do know that there are water threats, and maybe one of these days we'll talk about China, because I can do a whole series on the kind of crap that they've been doing. Hear about that new virus out there? Or a virus that's become a problem? Again. In response to this disclosure, there's under COVID lockdown procedures there. In response to this disclosure, the United States has initiated numerous probes into Chinese-made technology, with various investigations revealing malicious, mysterious computer codes that can be remotely triggered to disable critical infrastructure, such as natural gas pipelines and electrical networks. Arnie Bellini, co-founder and former CEO of ConnectWise, considers this the most serious threat confronting America. I tend to agree with him. Right? Noting that Chinese tech companies often maintain strong connections with Chinese Communist Party leadership. If you are doing business in China, you are in bed with the Chinese Communist Party. Period. End of discussion. Even one of the guests here was doing business in China, and that China got involved in all of his crap. Right? Bellini has delivered a sobering assessment regarding the dangers of incorporating Chinese technology into essential infrastructure, declaring Iran is a great warm-up for what we face with China. It's the fact that we're buying equipment from China, we're already putting it into our infrastructure, which already has the capability to call back to Beijing, flip the switch and turn it off, and we're putting it in our water supply systems and our electric systems. We're using them for video surveillance cameras. None of that's good. So the Chinese manufacturers, I don't think a lot of people understand exactly how China operates, but it's very interesting and very simple. It's like all the large manufacturers, almost all of them. The ones that you're ready to buy products from, they're all partially funded or sponsored by the government. They've got government subsidies, they have government officials on the board of directors, and that's not so strange in a country except for the fact that this is a communist party who has vowed to take down the United States of America. It has no ethics. Right? You cannot believe anything they say. They lie all the time, and it goes on and on and on here. So, you've been told. You've been warned. Our water supply is not secure, so how are we going to, what are we going to do about it? This is here out of a mainstream paper. And I read a mains right from the government documents. So I'm going to tell you once and for all. Well, Jim, why do you do this on the government? You could do this. Why do you read government? Why? Because that's where the news is. The government documents. Shelton Primus, friend of the program, also on this network, says you want to find out what a regulatory agency is, look at their agenda. Real simple. There's an agenda. This is where we're spending our time, what it is. Same thing with the EPA. Same thing with no, we got to pay attention and start looking what they are. And remember, the people who are working against us, it doesn't matter in the workplace, government to government, and society, what have you, they're working against us in that safety war. Tell you what they're going to do. They tell you what they're going to do before they do it. They let the information out there before they do it, right? It's like a soft opening, a soft thing, right? You hear all this stuff. No, we have a soft rollout, a softest stuff. Well, guess what? What do you think this is? What do you think we have out there, like with disclosure? I think that we've already been contacted by technology, at least, from other planets. But it's a slow rollout on here that, well, everyone knows it. Why? Look at all the TV series out there. You got Star Wars. You got Star Trek. Constant. You got many other affiliated shows out there. They've been telling us this for years. So that's all I have to say on that. We're going to cut loose here, and we're going to, we'll see you tomorrow, God willing. You got 4 programs this week. That's pretty darn good here. Usually it's only 2 or 3. Now we got 4 this week. I'm rolling. I'm looking for a fantastic August here. And for Safety Wars, it's Jim Posel and the Safety FM Network. I hope to see you tomorrow.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.